Well, as you know, Fridays are normally the days when we start the weekend. But on this particular Friday, I decided to keep this little episode to a minimum of two reviews. Well, the priority is, of course, is the NXT Level Up. So we're gonna find out who levels up. But first things first, I'm going to finish off what I missed out on one of the last GCW of this month that I haven't seen yet, and that was, of course, so much fun. This one features a lot of good matches. We have, of course, the GCW World Title defended. Masha Slamovich gets another crack at Blake Christian after she screwed him, after he screwed her actually the last time. So that's going to be an interesting match. And also the Deathmatch Legends Ito, and of course Abdullah Kobayashi takes on Los Macizos. So that's gonna be one hell of a match. And then of course we have some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, and of course some interesting developments that has been happening in the world of pro wrestling. But this one features more a little information about Jack Perry that I think many of you may like to hear about. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do real timing news updates in case if something happens in the world of pro wrestling, this has to be alerted for all of you as soon as possible. We also do the Unagi Sayaka watch and various other cool things as well on this channel. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and a lot of cool stuff on this channel as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions are set aside. I think it's time to get down to business. Our first review right now is going to be none other than GCW's So Much Fun. GCW So Much Fun. This was the last show that came out recently on the 10th of March. This one features a lot of good matches, but I think we should just get started from the very beginning of this entire event all the way towards the end. Our first match, we had a bit of a scramble match. We have Teriyaki versus Hunter Drake versus Rico Gonzalez versus Braden Toon versus Marcus Mathers. And of course, we cannot forget the biggest a hole on the planet, Tony Deppen. So, yes. Now, scramble matches, many of you have heard this from me many times, or many of you may have heard this. Anything could happen in scramble matches. Now, do I think any wrestler had a particularly opportunity? Well, the one who I might have thought that would have been the real deal to pick up this win would have been the a-hole Tony Deppen. Now, some of you may ask why. Simple. Tony Deppen will always find the opportunity to find ways to cut and, you know, finish this match in his own way by using ropes or cheating his way through. But unfortunately, that did not happen. I was surprised who actually picked up the win. It was none other than Oni El Bandito with the frog splash onto Rico Gonzalez, and just like that, he picked up the win. Now, originally we were supposed to have the rich and powerful more consistently with Charles Mason and Richard Holiday. However, after the previous day, Charles Mason, who is the most despicable person on the planet, has now began to have a little boo boo because he cannot believe he lost to what he calls a clown. If you guys don't remember, he lost to Danhausen. That's right, because he believes Danhausen is a joke, that he is not a wrestler, that he is not evil. But we have heard stories about Danhausen. At certain times, he does go a little too far, and I think his little pride is broken, which is good because he deserves it. Because he thinks that wrestlers like Danhausen are like that. So basically, he left his spot to Pero. But they will face against the Garbage Daddies, consisting of Alec Price and Cole Radrick. However, nothing has changed when it came with, of course, Pero and Richard Holiday. I mean, Charles Mason, who I think he's having a little boo boo, cannot believe that he lost to Danhausen, is somewhere, crying like a little girl. But however, like I said, nothing changed because things were gonna fall in favor for Holiday and Paro because Holiday low blowed Radrick and then he pinned him, and just like that it was over. So I don't know when will Mason come back. I just hope he just realized he screwed up. But yes. Now, our next match, we have Alex Zane taking on Broski Jimmy Lloyd. So you would think that Jimmy Lloyd doing Matt Cardona's bidding would have been the proper thing to happen. It kind of did. However, Broski Jimmy actually low blowed, uh, low blowed, of course, Zane, and then he pinned him, and just like that. However, he was in, Jimmy was intending to hurt Alex Zane, but Nick Wayne showed up out of the blue and decided to talk sense into him. But he had enough of Jimmy Lloyd being brainwashed by that no good guy who claims he's there to save GCW, Matt Cardona. So basically, they will have a match against each other at on the in the block is hot, and it became official. So Jimmy will be in action to take him on. Now, our next match, we have Joey Janela versus Jack Cartwheel. Now, I asked myself this question because as you know, recently Joey Janela lost the Extreme Championship to Maki Ito, even though he wasn't pinned. But the real question is, how will this affect him? Well, I'm sure that it doesn't, because we know he does have one goal in mind, and that is the GCW World Title. But nothing too significant happen in this match, except that we did see like what we saw in AEW with like Commander and Jack Cartwheel, doing the cartwheel thingies. Well, that was pretty sick. I thought it was awesome. Uh, but however, Joey Janela won by using the DDT, and just like that. Now, our next match, we have Brandon Kirk taking on Micro Man. Yep, Micro Man was there. Now, I asked myself, does Brandon Kirk knows what he's getting himself into? Because people would like to make fun of his shortness. But like people always say, don't underestimate Microman. And of course, you would think so. I mean, I'm sure Brandon Kirk was going to throw in some shots at him, so that Microman, but excuse me, Microman with the splash, and just like that, he just picked up the win. I mean, I'm sure Kirk is embarrassed that he lost to a midget, but he should know that he put up a little effort against that small guy. So, yeah, so that's how it goes. Now, our next match, we have the GCW World Championship. Masha Slamet gets another opportunity of the title against the man who stole that belt from her by cutting his way through the line. We're talking about Blake Christian, who is a piece of garbage. As you know, Blake Christian is determined never to lose the belt at all. And of course, ever since then, he hired that big brute for a muscle to do his dirty work. But everything that Blake Christian did to dismantle her did not work in his favor. And same thing with Masha Slamovich. Nothing worked. Then, of course, there was the ladders. But, however, the ladder did help Masha Slamovich to take out um, Mercer. But, however, it did help Blake Christian to try to use a leg lock on her. And it was just too much for Masha. So she had no other choice but to, of course, tap. And then, of course, Blake Christian gloated the fact that he is the champion, that no one's going to beat him. Then he called out Missy Hyatt. If you guys remember last time, Missy Hyatt was almost humiliated by that dirtbag Blake Christian. And then, of course, Blake Christian was about to do something stupid. Luckily, Joey Janela showed up. However, Joey Janela gave the bad news to Blake Christian that he will face him at his spring break in April. This is the last thing that Blake Christian does not want. He said that Joey Janela is not even worth it to face him. However, it's official. It's gonna happen, even if Blake Christian doesn't agree with it, but it will. And I think this will be the opportunity where we see Joey Janela finally become the GCW World Champion. Now, our next match, we have John Wayne Murdoch taking on Casey Cattell, Brandon Kirk's wife. Now here's the interesting part. Casey Cattell has never beaten John Wayne Murdoch, so you would think in his mind that he is humiliated with the fact that he lost to a woman. Yes, I would think so. However, last time he faced against Brandon Kirk, her husband, and of course he beat him, but Murdoch hasn't forgotten the humiliation he suffered towards Casey. So he attacked him in order to send a direct message, but Casey wasn't going to stand by. But this time, it's an all-out war between them. You would think that they're going to use whatever plunder in this match. I mean, tables, ladders, barbed wires, tubes, whatever they will use to kill each other. That's something you would expect. However, we did see a little later Murdoch had people bring in a cherry picker or a lift or whatever, and then of course that went well until Brandon Kirk showed up and took out Murdoch, and then he put him on a door on a door, and then put a piece of glass on him, but on top of it he actually lit the glass on fire, allowing for Casey to put him down, and just like that, I was like, what the fudge? It just ended like crazy. I just did not expect it. I'm like, wow, what an insane match. But yes. Now our next match, we have Thrusty, consisting of Dark Sheik, Alley Catch, and Effie, taking on Maki Def Kill Club, consistent of Matt Tremont, Maki Ito, and Nick Gage. I have to say, this was a real fun match, despite of the fact that they used a lot of plunder. I mean, I've always wondered how will Matt Tremont open up towards Maki. I mean, look, I would say that it would be a little difficult thing, but it seems that he appreciates that Maki gets it. She's all MDK all every day, and that's something that I think he would appreciate that. However, this match was later thrown into a no contest when all of a sudden Mance Warner, who we thought was done with Effie, showed up and attacked him. And of course, Nick Gage was unhappy. He questioned what happened. So the referee told him that this match had to be thrown out thanks to Mance Warner. Now, Nick Gage is not happy with the fact that this happened. So he called him a coward, for what he did. And I'm sure that Nick Gage will get his hands on him and show him what he is, because it's MDK all effing day. So we'll see when that day happens. Now, our main event, we have Los Macizos, Miedo Extremo and his cousin Ciclope, taking on two deathmatch legends from Japan, Abdullah Kobayashi and Ryuichi Ito. Now, they're going to bring in the plunder and the toys into this match, because that's how it works. I mean, we've seen the Macizos. They love bringing the plunder because it would help them try to pick up the win. However, you're facing two legends involved in death matches in Japan. You would think that would fall in your favor, but nope, it did not, because it was Abdullah who picked up the win with the elbow drop onto Ciclope, and just like that, it was over. So I thought it was pretty fun, and now I can say this. I caught up with GCW, but soon a new one will come out, and that is, of course, Role Model. So I don't know when I will be watching that, but it will be a priority as soon as possible. But for right now, I believe this is what we have, and let's just move on to our last and final review, and that is none other than NXT Level Up. Okay, so who levels up on this latest episode of NXT Level Up? Let's find out. Our first match, we have Tavion Heights taking on a wrestler named Saquon Sugars. Um, don't know who he is, but I might have seen him at some other place, but I just don't remember. But anyway, I think this is this guy's debut, from my understanding. But of course, Tavion Heights, as you know, we've seen him like many times on both NXT and NXT Level Up. But mostly with NXT Level Up, we know recently he won a match against Dante Chen, and I think this is building up momentum for him. And I think they played out pretty well. You would think this was going to be a good match. Tavion Heights was able to pick up with the belly to belly suplex, and just like that, Tavion Heights picks up the W, and it ends just like that. Now, for our main event, we will see later. We're going to see Uriah Connors. You may know him as Brogan Finley. He had an interview with Sarah talking about Eddie Thorpe, someone that he is familiarized with. I'm not sure if those two ever met during their time in the LA dojo, from my understanding, but it seems like they do. So he always looks up to him like a brother. That is something we're definitely going to be seeing in the future, but we'll see. Now, our next match, we have Jada Parker taking on Lainey Reed. I think might have seen her before, but not so much. Uh, but Jada Parker, we do know she is building up higher and higher as being the problem solver of ATM. That would have been the very deciding factor. But however, I'm not sure exactly how Jada Parker picked up the win, but it looked more like something like the radio silence that Matt Cardona used it, or as people like to call it, the Zack Ryder move. But she was able to pick up the win against Reed just like that. Now, our main event, we have Uriah Connors taking on Eddie Thorpe. I thought this match was pretty good because these two know each other all too well. So, and most likely they would try to outdo each other. You would think that somehow Uriah Connors will know exactly what move set, of course, Eddie Thorpe will apply to him. I mean, it would have been the possibility of that, but so far it wasn't that much. It didn't do any help, but it ended with Eddie Thorpe applying doing an implant DDT, and just like that, he picked up the win. So we'll see how Uriah Connors will do in the weeks or months to follow from here on out. We're yet to see more of Eddie Thorpe in NXT, but we will see until then. But for right now, I think we'll just end things with NXT Level Up and move on to our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, welcome to our news update. So we got a little bit of what we need to review. Let's start with, of course, with the promotions. First one is MLW with two events that just announced. As you know, by the end of this month, we have War Chamber that will take place on March 29th. It was already been foretold that Matt Riddle and Kosa Fujita will be appearing. It was later announced that they will both face each other, but it appears that the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Television title will be defended. I'm sure Kosa Fujita will love nothing more than bring that belt back to TMDK, which is something I'm sure that he's desiring. because I'm sure Papa Zack Sabre Jr. will be proud of him. But however, the next show they did announce was a very interesting one. As you know, they announced for Azteca Lucha that will take place in May. Star Jr. will be participating in that particular event. Now, this coming Sunday, we do have, of course, Kitsune Women's Wrestling for the Kampai show in LA on the 24th. Two matches have been announced. We have Hyan taking on Miyu Momono. Then we have Masha Slamovich. She teams Masha Slamovich teams up with Takumi Iroha. They take on Marina Shafir, the Problem, and Trish Adora. Now, interesting news. As you know, Spark Yoshi Puroresu of America will be in Philly for Trailblaze on the 7th of April. As you know, we did hear many of the Stardom talents will be participating with Spark. We did hear from the Azumi, Starlight Kid, I forgot who else. Well, another name has been thrown in to participate in this event, and that is the cutest in the world, Tam Nakano. Yeah, this is really awesome. I mean, I would love to meet Tam Nakano. Oh yeah, but so if you need my subscribers who are fans of Tam Nakano and they're planning to go to Philly to check out the shows there, go get your tickets now. So yes. Now finally, as you know, Jersey Championship Wrestling (JCW) announced for their Strong Silent Type taking place on April 27th. Joey Janela will be facing against Casey Catal. That's going to be one interesting match. And then finally, West Coast Pro for the upcoming event later on in May. For the Coast, they announced AEW talent returns to this promotion, and you guys know him too well. Powerhouse Hobbs. So that's right. Powerhouse Hobbs will be making his return to West Coast Pro. No indications yet who is he going to face, but we will see what happens. Now, for our developments, as you know, recently since the start of the since Battle of the Valley early this year, we saw Jack Perry made his appearance at the New Japan Strong show in San Jose. But the real question does remain is like, what has Jack Perry been doing since then? We haven't seen him since All In with that situation with CM Punk. We saw him rip off the AEW contract. However, Brian Alvarez from Wrestling Revolver had some things to say, but at the same time, we do know that Tony Khan has been upset with Jack Perry because of the loss of CM Punk. I mean, I don't know, but this is what Brian Alvarez had to talk about. Let me pull that up for all of you so I can get some clear. Okay, this is what he had to say. Jack Perry both disputes that the claim that he constantly apologized or asked for forgiveness in the months following his backstage fight with CM Punk at AEW All In, or that there were current plans for an AEW return. According to Perry, he didn't even hear from Tony Khan for 2 months following the All In. Perry said he never texted or to say he was sorry and told Khan's lawyer that he would not initiate first contact. Khan finally set up an in-person meeting before Full Gear in LA, where they discussed a plan to bring him back last December. After Punk's return to WWE at Survivor Series, those plans were scrapped. Perry would work with Rocky Romero and Khan to set up his current New Japan run. He hasn't talked to Khan in months. Now, there have been reports recently about the whole situation with Jack Perry, and this one was also been told by Brian Alvarez that he said this is what he says. Jack Perry requested and was denied his AEW release. He's still under contract. There's still no plans to bring him back to AEW. He's not spoken to Tony Khan in months for not clear anything he has done in the storyline for New Japan, like him tearing up the AEW contract or his use of the term scapegoat. So basically, there were thoughts of bringing him back, you know, but because Punk went back to WWE, that kind of made the plans go away. From my understanding, from what Lauren Alvarez saying is like they're saying that it was Jack Perry's fault for this mess that happened. So we know that Perry wanted to apologize for what just transpired. Of course, the whole thing with the contract signing, we all thinks it was a work or something. I think there's a lot of talk about that, and of course the term scapegoat. That's something we haven't heard, but we just don't know why Jack Perry was still under contract if he requested. I mean, I'm sure Jack Perry feels guilty for what happened at the backstage and All In, but who knows? We just don't know when he'll be back. That's the thing. We do know he's working with Rock Romero, but we'll see where that leads us from here on out. And I think we'll keep an eye on this story of Jack Perry uh, until some things have become clear. So we just got to wait and see. And I think that's pretty much it, what we have for now. So I'm just going to end it right here and just say, let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. We haven't decided yet. I know we have the much recent Choco Pro show. Uh, I've been hearing that there will be no AW Collision or something, but I don't know. We'll see. But I'm still behind on certain events. Majority of them is from Noah and All Japan Pro Wrestling. We'll just see about that. Hopefully I can catch up with those. There are still some other events I haven't seen, but we'll see where that leads us from here on out. We're almost at the end of this month. Of course, WrestleMania is almost around the corner, but we'll see about that as well. So that's all I gotta say, and I will see you guys on next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.